Hi there guys, Sam here, welcome back to another video. Join me once again in my Mark 7 Golf R to talk a little bit around, does the Mark 8 Golf R need drift mode? So yeah, I'll get straight into the video really. So yes, welcome back to another video. I hope everyone is all well. So I wanted to talk a little bit more around the drift mode for the Mark 8 Golf R, and a little bit around, does it need it, and what's kind of like the relevance to it, and are people kind of excited for it and all that kind of stuff, and yeah, talk around that. So I'll put a little bit of a picture up on screen. There was actually a video done on VWR's sort of YouTube channel, and they basically explain how it all works and everything around it. In short, to just summarize it all, the Mark 7 Golf R was very front biased, and when it lost traction, power went to the rear wheels. But they only went to sort of both rear wheels at the same time. There was no sort of like adjustability in it. What the drift mode does is I think it basically has extra clutch packs in the back. Again, more technical people probably know than me. And what it can do is it can basically send all the power to one of the outside rear wheels. That's basically how it works, which basically, because it's spinning faster than it should, it produces a drift and the car will oversteer. There you go, sounds fantastic. That basically summarizes it up. Now, does it need it? Is it actually important? So I'm actually one of those people who I love the options of things being allowed on a car. I bang on about the manual gearbox in my car, and some people don't like a manual gearbox, some people like a DSG box. I personally like both. And I always think that the option to have it or to not have it is very, very important, because it makes it more appealing for more people. That's the idea. And also, if you don't want to option anything, it tends to make the price of the car cheaper, which makes it more attainable for everyone. And who doesn't want that? Who doesn't want the cheapest car possible? So if you wanted to buy a base spec Golf 8 R with absolutely nothing on it, that would be the cheapest price you can get the car for. Now, that car wouldn't have drift mode. Drift mode is an optional. It's part of, I believe it's part of the performance pack. I think it comes with other stuff as well, but ultimately you'd have to pay more if you want it. Now, the thing that I want to know is, if you do not option drift mode, does it mean that you're losing out? Does it mean that you're losing out on what the car is like day to day in race mode or normal mode? That's what I want to find out more. And that's something that I think is going to be quite hard to find out, because a lot of press drives and journalist drives and everything, they're driving a car with drift mode. They're driving the car with all the bells and whistles, with everything on it. So it's hard to get a perception of what a base car is going to be like. And I quite like base cars, because if someone wants a Golf 8R, completely understated, flat paint, no options on it, it's got the DSG box as standard, great. You don't have to be massively into cars to kind of get into this kind of thing. But are you missing out by not having drift mode? Is it in those modes that, it's not quite the same? It's not quite as agile as a result of not having that drift mode in the background? Or is drift mode purely only working when you change the mode? That's what I want to know. I love how, I think there's good and bad points for it being an option. Good points are you can get the car for cheaper without it. Bad points are, if you want, you might be missing out. You might be missing out on something of the car. Now, I've always felt like getting this Mark 7 Golf R in sort of like base spec form, a 3-door manual at the time, I wasn't really missing out on anything. The fundamentals of the car, the package, the Haldex system, the powertrain, wasn't really any different to a normal Mark 7. The only change, obviously, just the gearbox. So it's like, cars can get so complicated these days, and it's just nice to know what a standard car is actually going to be like. I'm a big Porsche fan, and I love the Caymans, but you can get so many different sort of adaptive dampers and PASM suspension and everything. It's very hard to get that right one. I just want to know what a base car, what's the car to go for, kind of thing. It's not too difficult to ask for. And I think you can get a great car in this Golf 8R without dynamic chassis control, without everything on it. And just enjoy the car for the car. And that's why I kind of enjoy this car so much. And again, I know I've mentioned it before, it makes it more accessible to more people. It makes it more attainable for more people. And that's just a great thing. I want people to be involved. It shouldn't be this exclusive thing. It's a, people's car for everyone. If you look back at, say, the Mark III Focus RS, and you think, well, it didn't actually have the option to have a drift mode. You had it or you didn't have it. Well, actually, you had it or you didn't have the car. That was the option. Same with the A45S, which has drift mode now. I think the reason why they've done it as an option, because it's probably it might be quite a niche thing to go for, and perhaps most people aren't actually going to option it. People might just want that standard car. They'll look at their finance figures and stuff and say, like, hang on, I don't want to be paying this much for a button. So yeah, it's interesting around that side. I want to know your thoughts. Do you think drift mode is actually sort of like fundamentally important for a Golf R? Were you sort of missing it in sort of like in the background when driving this around? I think other cars with drift mode has kind of opened up the hot hatch world to kind of thinking it's, you know, it's great. First of all, it says you can't even use it on the public road, which 99.9% of people are going to be using their Golf R on the public road, which kind of makes it irrelevant. It's just something to say to your mates down the pub. But you could quite easily have a base spec Golf 8R and just say to them, yeah, it's got drift mode. It doesn't really matter if it does or it doesn't, because, you know, if you can't use it, you can't use it. So it's a bit of a strange one. I think it's great, and, you know, I am quite passionate about my cars, and I think it's I want nice, cool hot hatches, affordable hot hatches, to be more available for everyone. And I want to know what an absolutely base spec Golf 8R is like to drive, and if you're really missing out by not having this drift mode. I suspect you're probably not. I suspect that all the other modes, the race mode, the comfort mode, if you've got dynamic chassis control, the normal mode, the eco mode, are exactly the same, whether or not you have drift mode or not. I'd like a little bit of an adjustable car every now and then, and drift mode might enable that, even though you can't technically use it on the road. Anyway, I don't want to ramble on too much, but my point is basically, I think it's a good thing that it's an option, because it means people who don't want it or don't care about it don't have to have it and don't have to spend the money on it. I think it's confusing because is it really fundamentally different under the hood, under the chassis, under the, you know, that new Haldex system? Is it really affected by not having drift mode? And thirdly, were sort of Mark 7 Golf R owners or fans of really wanting that? Have they just kind of followed the trend of what other manufacturers are doing, rather than thinking of their own on their own 2 feet and saying, well, actually, a lot of the Golf R owners didn't really care too much about their car being able to oversteer? I suspect most people didn't. But I want to know your thoughts in the comments. And were you kind of looking for it? You know, when I think a lot of people in my comments were looking for more power, I think that was the key. They were like, well, you know what? Golf R owners who were sort of having 300, 310 brake horsepower, if they were to have sort of 340, 350, they would be pretty happy. That hasn't happened. It's only gone up by a little bit. So maybe that was an area that VW should have focused on. Maybe they will do in the future. Maybe there'll be room to expand the that product to make it yeah, to make that more accessible, and probably charge us a hell of a lot more for it. So yeah, I'm going to keep my eye on a base spec Golf R, because thinking about it a lot more today, actually thinking about it this morning, I think that might actually be the way to go for some people. Maybe for people like me, maybe for people who don't really necessarily care about all the fancy stuff. But let me know your thoughts in the comments. Let me know if this video has made any sort of sense at all. And yeah, please be a part of this community channel. Thanks so much for the support actually recently. It's been crazy. I know we're in a bit of a lockdown, so probably more people have got time to watch it. I hope you've been enjoying them. I hope you either find them informative or enjoyable to watch during your 10 minutes of spare time during your day. So I really do appreciate it. And that's the best way to build a community channel. If you like me, if you like other people in the comments, you know, it's just a friendly channel. I never really have any sort of prejudice against any sort of different spec option or any sort of car. I'm just a car lover basically, so yeah, I go on about it quite a bit. But yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments on this one. And yeah, is drift mode, you know, do you really need it? That's the question. I think that's one for you lot to answer. And yeah, there are my thoughts on it. Listen, thanks so much for watching. Hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. Hope you're keeping well if you're in the UK, still in lockdown, or around the world as well. I really do enjoy, you know, again, this is a global car. It's for everyone. It's for people in Australia, it's for people in Canada, it's for people in Germany, it's for people in France, people in Australia, you know, everywhere. And I really do enjoy everyone who gets involved in the channel. And so do let me know your thoughts on drift mode. That would be, yeah, fantastic. And thank you for getting this far in the video. I'll stop talking now. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you again next time. Cheers, guys.